Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you my storage solution for Gloomhaven monsters. So that's what this entire video is dedicated to. I will just say up front a couple things. First of all, it is a lot of work because there's a lot of monsters to build. But I guess you just have to decide if it's worth it for you or not to do that. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be making in just a second. I also want to talk about what issue I'm addressing and why. And then finally, I want to quickly say, in the link in the description of this video, there's a link for a web page I have created where I have compiled all of my board game crafts into one place. And so that's where you will be able to, if you go down there, find my board game craft web page, click on it, find Gloomhaven, and you will see a link to download the files for this thing. Now, a couple of caveats with that. First of all, I usually get my most views right when I post a video, and so I just want to say the files for this particular game are going to be in 5 parts. And I upload my files to BoardGameGeek.com. I love that site, that's why I use it. But I'm saying that because it takes time for them to process and accept my files. And the way that I'm uploading this particular file, look, first of all, you have to upload small files. So I had to take all of these pages and I've broken them up into 5 individual files. And I can only upload 1 file at a time to do it the way I'm doing it so that things are easy to find. And so it's going to take 1 to 2 days every time I upload a new file into that file there. And so I'm just saying, at the time that you're watching this video, there's a chance that not all 5 files will be there when you see this. And so I'm just asking you to please be patient, keep checking my webpage or keep checking that 1 file page, and eventually they will all be up there. I promise they'll end up there. That's my goal. But they're just going to come one at a time. But that honestly might be a positive thing because there are about 5 pages per file, and so you could print out 5 pages and be making those as we're waiting for the other ones to come in. So let's talk about why we're making what we're making. For Gloomhaven, I own the broken token insert, and I want to be clear, I really like the broken token insert, and I feel like I've accidentally ragged on them a little bit recently, but as a part of that insert, they came with these individual deck boxes like this, which are pretty, and in fact I loved that. That's why I got the insert, but it only took me about 2 gameplays to realize how much I hated these boxes. Basically, to put things in here, you had to open up the tuck, and there's a tuck down here at the bottom, which always catches things, so I don't like tuck boxes for that reason. But also, you had to put the cards in, and then you had to really carefully stack and slide the other pieces in, and it wasn't that great. And so what we're going to be creating is a box that I tried to make with myself in mind, because I only ever think about myself. But basically, this kind of looks like a matchbook, accidentally. I don't know matchbooks, but that's just what it looks like. And essentially, that will open, and it will hold all of the cards and all of the figures like that. And so this is what we're creating, is a whole bunch of boxes that will fit things like this, okay? And then, in case you're wondering, yes, the boss's box works that exact same way. It has the boss, it will have the boss cards. I'll show you why they're not in here in just a second, but you can see there's room for them. And it has all of the bosses. So we have normal size boxes, we have this huge size box, and then we also have a bunch of tiny boxes. And these are for there are several different figures that use the archer cards and so on. So we have little tiny boxes and big boxes and medium boxes, but they're all using the exact same template. And so what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to show you how to make one of those boxes. I have the Flame Demon as the last one that I need to make. So I'm going to be making the Flame Demon box, and I chose this box just because it's a good middle size. And as you're making these boxes, I recommend you kind of try to find the middle size boxes as well, and then go smaller and bigger, just because the middle ones are super straightforward. And even though it is the exact same template for all of them, sometimes it feels trickier to make a bigger one or a smaller one because you're not exactly sure how it's supposed to work. So anyway, I'm going to start with the Flame Demon box. So we're going to be making that first. And then I want to show you this. So I designed, because I have the broken token insert, I designed this bigger box to fit into the broken token insert. So you can see right here. Here, I'll take off the lid. There are all of these monster boxes over here. And then I also have it designed, there's a base down here, so that you don't have to keep this in the wooden box if you don't want to. This could just fit in the place if you prefer it that way. But we're basically going to be making the bottom of a box, and we're going to be making the top of the box. And so once your boxes are made, you can decide if you want to use the wooden insert or don't use the wooden insert. Totally up to you. But I designed this with myself in mind because I make these things for myself and then I just share them. Let me also really quickly say before we get started, I know that some people already have a storage solution for all of their figures, but maybe you don't for your card boxes. And so I have also designed something else, and you can have access to this file and the video on how to make this box. That's also on my board game website. But basically, this box here is only for the cards. So if you're somebody who already has your figures in Plano boxes or something like that, and you only want a way to store and organize your cards, this is an alternate route that you could go. And again, I will just have all of that information on my webpage, so follow that if you'd like to. So anyway, with that in mind, I have 3 pages printed for the 3 things we're going to do. The base of the box, the top of the big box, and then each individual box I'm going to be focusing on the flame demon here. So let me move this out of the way. And I'll start by saying for all of my designs, what we're going to do is we're basically going to use the paper cutter to just cut out the outline for each of these boxes. I have a tripod right here, and so using the paper cutter on camera is super awkward. I'll just do the paper cutting on the outside. But I do want to say that, yes, we'll just go ahead and cut out the outline for this, for the individual box. And then for the bigger box, because these are so big, depending on your printer and how it handles margins, it's going to get a little tough. And so for the bottom of the box, like my printer cut off this line down here, and I haven't figured out how to get it back. But I'm just going to cut right where the tops of those lines are. That's pretty close to where I need to cut. For the bottom of the box, I'm just going to trim the outside like this. And where the margin cut off for my printer, I'm just going to go ahead and cut along that. You can double check your PDF if you need to see that we're pretty close. But then the other thing that I want to say is because this box is so big, for the lid, I'm just going to cut on the top, or it's not on the top. I'm going to leave the top and the bottom alone. You'll see why later. I'm just going to cut off the sides. I'll repeat that later, but I'm just saying because I'm going to go use my paper cutter for all of this. So this one, cut around the outside, and then we're going to cut it in half to get each individual shape. For this one, it's possible that your printer hasn't printed one of the lines. That's okay, just cut on the top of those lines, you'll be fine. And for this one, I'm actually going to not do any cutting on these parts of the design. I'm only going to do a slice here and a slice here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these things cut off camera. The other things you're going to need, apparently I forgot, is you're going to want this kind of tape. Well, yeah, I've changed brand. Well, yeah, so there's transparent tape. No, this is invisible tape. Invisible is like a little bit opaque, like it's kind of cloudy. I'm going to only use this for these designs, but it's possible that if there's a corner or two that you want to tape down, that maybe you want transparent tape. But I don't think that I plan on using this for this design. I'm planning on using invisible tape, but we're also going to want some scissors. So here's my plan, okay? My plan is, after I go get these cut out, in case you want to like fast forward or whatever, I'm going to build this box first, the individual box, because that's probably what's uploaded to Board Game Geek at the time you see this video, so that's what you can get started with. And then after that, I'm going to make the base of the box so that we have somewhere to put these things in. And then finally, I'll make the lid of the box. So let me go ahead and get these things chopped up. I will be right back. All right, we are back. So you should have something cut out that looks like this. Now, if you're making one of the bigger boxes, I just want to point something out to make things fit on paper. So to make things fit on the paper, it might look just a tiny bit differently in that on the bigger box, this part over here doesn't exist. So your cut line probably goes right to the color there, and that's totally cool. Okay, same thing on this side. It'll just cut right over there to that side there. That's not a big deal. I have all these X's here to show you where you should be cutting out and not cutting out. And so don't stress about it. The second thing that I want to say is if you're making the boss box, which is huge, this rectangle here is ginormous. And so it'll look awkward, but you will want that full triangle. So don't, just make sure you're following the X's, okay? Now that I'm talking about the X's, the first step after we get the overall shape cut out is we're going to cut out all of these pieces with the X's. So in this example, it's a rectangle, and then this weird shape here and here. Or if it's a bigger box, it'll be 4 rectangles. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by cutting that out. Now, I didn't put dotted lines. Usually I just put dotted lines everywhere inside the shape where I want you to cut. I just didn't do it for this one because I found the dotted lines on this big part distracting. And so I'm really hoping that you can follow the solid lines enough and you can see these shapes with the X's that you won't make too big of a mistake on your first couple of tries. But yep, we're just going to cut out these rectangles or weird shapes with the X's. Sorry, it's a little tricky to do this on camera, so please forgive me. Okay, go ahead and cut that out. But essentially, once we do this part, all of the boxes should look nearly identical with the exception of the boss box, which has that super huge awkward triangle or square. That's there kind of for some stability. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. So I'm starting out by cutting out the 4 X'd shapes like that. Okay, so basically we should all have a shape that looks really close to this. Next thing I'm going to do are 2 simple cuts. This is going to be like a fold over thing. It's not really going to be visible, but it's going to be easier if we just cut out the triangles that make that corner. So basically if we cut that rectangle into a trapezoid, that'll make our lives a lot easier. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out this F shape. This is a backwards F this way, this is a forwards F. But you can see some dotted lines here. We see a dotted line going up and over and over. So this is a backwards F on that side. This is a forwards F on that side. Now, I'm going to show you that we also need to do an additional cut that's not showing. I chose to not make this extra cut dotted, first of all for the looks, and second of all, it was making it a nightmare to create it. But let me show you the cut that we're making. So, oh, not on that one. Let me grab the cultist one. Okay, so basically the way that this box is designed, let me pull these out, is that these wings here are going to wrap around and tuck into the box like this. You see that? Okay. So some nerdy math numbers that you probably don't care about is the height of this is 1.8 inches. The height of this is 0.5 inches. I guess what I'm saying is this is almost a third of this. And so I'm going to be cutting, as I'm cutting on the F, the top part of the F, I'm going to cut about a third of the way up this side. If you're confused, don't worry. You can pause it, re-listen to my amazing words, or just pause as I'm doing this. So let's start with the normal F. I'm going to cut the back part of the F like this. I'm turning to continue the top part of the F. And then I'm going to keep cutting a third of the way up this box. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'd rather you go farther than not far enough, but basically I just kept cutting up that way, so it looks like that. Okay, I'm trying to get it, there you go, white background so you can see. And then I'll cut the middle part of the F just like normal. Don't cut farther than that. Okay, so can you kind of see my cuts there? All right, let's do that same thing on this side. So cut the back of the F, cut the top part, and then we're going to continue the top part about a third of the way up the back. No matter how big the box is, this is always the same height, and this down here is always the same height. So we're always going to cut about a third of the way up. Okay? And again, like I said, it's easier if you cut a little bit farther than not far enough. Then let's cut that middle part right there. And we're almost done with our scissors, actually. So we cut out the outline, then we cut out the 2 F's and the trapezoid. Now, one more little tiny thing here, this little detail, is this box doesn't tuck so nicely because all the measurements are exact unless we make this cut here. Can you see that? I'm trying to use the white background. We're going to just slice just a tiny, tiny sliver off where they're going to tuck in. So down here, we're going to cut a little sliver off, and the height of the sliver should be about the height, like kind of right here to the teeth, and going a little bit farther is not bad. So I'm just going to grab my scissors, I'm just cutting off a sliver, and then kind of, just because I'm left-handed, you can just kind of pull the scissors to the right, and it will cut that sliver off. Can you see? It's just barely noticeable. That's what we want, just a tiny piece. This way is a little bit trickier. I'm just going to cut a sliver like that, and you can just rip it off if you want, or if you want to take your scissors and just like do a little nip right there, that's cool too. Okay, believe it or not, we are done with the scissors. So let's get that out of the way. Now, we're going to do all of our folds next. So for our folds, let's go ahead and turn this thing upside down and think about these two squares down here. That's where I want to start. Okay, so I just want to take those two squares and fold them backwards. So use the middle part of that F shape that we cut and just fold it that way. You should just barely be able to see some ink poking through if you did that correctly. Let me show you what I mean. You see, well, maybe I didn't fold just enough. See, there's a little bit of white showing. So I'm going to pull that just a little bit farther and crease it just so I can just barely see a peak of printed ink. Just like that. There we go. That's a little bit better. See what I mean there? Okay. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Just fold those. I call these the teeth just because they look like two front teeth. Okay. So we got that. Next, what I want to do are the folds on the sides. There's going to be four folds per side. We're going to have one here in between the teeth and one here with our big cut. And then we're going to have two folds on this thing, one here and one here. We're going to do that on both sides. So let's start on one side. So in between the teeth, we're just going to go ahead and fold it. Part of why I tried to make this thing bi-colored, well, I just like the design better as I finagled with it, but it's also kind of easy to see where you should crease. And then because of our extra long cut here, this fold will be very, very easy. Just go ahead and fold it and crease it like that. Okay. And then, why don't I go ahead and fold this one too while we're at it. So in between the teeth, like this. You know, after you make 10 boxes, you're going to be flying at your own order of folding things. And we're going to fold that just like that. Okay, so this is going to kind of become this part of the box that holds the cards back, and it kind of holds the figures in place a little bit, but makes it easy to access. Okay, so for these wings, we need to do the same thing. You're going to see a line, and then this one here. So if you want to, you can use the teeth. The first fold is right in between the two teeth. Go ahead and fold there. And then the second one is just right where the teeth end and the main box begins. Okay, so first fold is in between the two teeth. Right there. And then keep folding, and you get that. So now we have all of the folds on the sides done. Now, we're going to be folding these 3 lines here on the bottom. And I just want to caution you, if you've done my designs before, sometimes I get carried away. You're going to feel like you want to do a 4th fold here. Don't do it. Don't do it. We're just going to do 3 folds from the bottom, starting with the trapezoid. So I'm just going to pull that trapezoid down, look for a spot of color, and crease it with my thumbnail. Oh, I didn't quite fold that side down far enough, so I'm just going to pull it again, and then just crease it with my thumbnail like that. Okay, fold number 1. Number 2 is just on the bottom part of these wings, so we're just going to go ahead and fold it there. Just make sure you can see it, and then crease it. And then only 1 more fold, not 2 more. So we just did 2 folds. We got a 3rd fold, and then we're done. And you're just going to pull it down until you can see that line. And make sure you're folding on the line. It's kind of right where these teeth would fold over. That's right where it should be. Okay. And again, it's tempting because there's those cuts that we did. It's tempting to fold and crease again. Don't do it. All right, turn it the other way. We have these 2 folds to do right here. So I'm just going to take that top part, fold it, bring it down until I see a line, and then I'm going to crease it like that. Okay, maybe I went a little ambitious with that. I probably could fix that. It's getting like I have to turn off my swamp cooler to record because the swamp cooler is right by the camera and it's too loud and it's getting really warm. Okay, our next fold is just right here, that line. So we're just going to fold on that line, crease it. Okay, we have all of our creases where we need them to be. So that's the tough part. The rest is pretty easy. let's start with the trapezoid shape. This is just to give some stability to the front of the box where things get tucked in and to make it kind of nice and rounded. So we're just going to bring that in and just throw some tape on it. Nothing pretty. Oh, I think I got my tape too big. No, just right. Okay. So you just go ahead and tape that thing down like that. Next, we're going to do our folding and tucking, and then we'll throw in some tape, and then we'll be done. So the way I like to do this is I like to bring the inner teeth up first, and then kind of fold up these outer teeth a little bit, and we're going to fold these sides in here. I'll go one side at a time. So I'm folding this in, making sure that that bottom tooth is tucked under, and bring that in. You could invert these. I have just found it's easier to do the next fold if the outer tooth goes under the inner tooth. So outer under the inner, and then square it around like that. Okay, do the same on this side, outer under the inner, square it in like that, and then just watch those teeth to make sure they're under that crease, and we're going to bring that crease up and over like this. And then I usually kind of just pinch it in this area, and what we've got to do is we've got to tuck this in here, and we'll see how good I did on my cutting. I might need to cut a little bit more. Oh nope, that fits perfectly. So we're just going to slide it right in there. Oh, that was a beautiful thing. Okay, we're going to do this side. You might need to open it up and trim, just like you might need to cut a little bit more. We'll see. I've just done 50 of these boxes at this point, so I'm pretty good at it. And we slide it in and tuck it just like that. Now, depending on how good you did on your creases and such, what I found myself doing in a lot of boxes is needing to take my scissors just to kind of go inside the box and square up this side, make sure that it's there the way we need it to go. What the teeth are doing, like I initially was cutting out those teeth, but what the teeth are doing is it's making the side stable on the bottom so that things don't fold into itself. Those teeth are holding this thing in place. All we're going to do is really casually just make sure that our tuck looks the way that we want it to. Sometimes I'll use this finger to hold it in place. We're just going to grab some tape. And this is a little bit awkward. I just kind of keep the tape on the tip of my finger like this and just gently lay it in there. I don't do any pushing permanently until I like where it is. And then I release it, and then I mush it down with the table. Obviously, I go like that. Okay, we'll do the same thing on this side. Just get a piece of tape on the tip of your finger. Put it down in there like that, let it roll off, and then go ahead and push it down like that. Cool, we've got our box. Let me go ahead and grab my Flame Demon cards, and I'll grab the Flame Demon tokens, and I will say every monster has been measured to preciseness. So, like for example, let me grab the cultists again. The way the cultists fit in here is 2 figures deep, 3 wide. And you might just have to tinker, but I'm telling you, every box, I've measured it. I have every single one made. So, Flame Demon. So let me show you 2 different ways that I've thought about storing these. I think some people might like to, so you can see the Flame Demon is wide. We're going to go 3 deep on that and 2 across. It won't fit otherwise. I think some people might like having the figures down first and then the cards on top of that just for the look of it. Okay, that's definitely an option. I have found myself more naturally putting the cards behind the figures and just having the figures in front. But whatever works for you, I absolutely support you. So we go ahead and put that in there and tuck it in. If you didn't do these trims on the side, I don't think it's going to fit super duper well. But now I have my Flame Demon. Let me go ahead and add it into my box over here. Okay, time to make the base of the bigger box. So let's do that. And again, if you're just going to use the broken token insert, maybe you won't need these things. If that's true, you might want to consider just putting a piece of cardstock down in here, because sometimes the boxes get stuck on those bottom parts there. But we'll just go ahead and continue on as planned. So as I told you, I went ahead and cut out the outside line. I went ahead and cut just a little bit above these. This is just going to be like a tuck over thing, like, well, not a tuck over, yeah. The width of this doesn't matter, and we're cutting out these boxes here. So I just prefer to give myself a little extra space. I probably woulda, coulda, shoulda given myself some extra space down here, but I didn't. But same thing, you're going to see some outside shapes. I actually did put dotted lines on those because I'm nicer, I guess. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start by cutting out those outer rectangles. So let's start there. Okay. Now, I'm going to do some trimming here. So go ahead and cut out your outside rectangles, okay? Now, I'm going to eventually do a little bit of trimming, and I'm going to choose to do it while I'm cutting out these rectangles. So here, let me do a second one. Basically what I'm saying is I'm trying to show you a shortcut, but I don't want to blow your brains too badly. Okay, so cut out your rectangles. I'll save these ones to show you the shortcut in action. Basically what I want to do is, down here you have this white, like 4 rectangle layout. I want to cut these rectangles down a little bit, like that. Can you see what I'm doing there? I just need to shorten this, or else it's not going to fold very nicely. And I want to cut out a triangle on this red one. So basically, I'm cutting a straight line down here on this rectangle. See what I did there? Okay. And then I want to cut a triangle out of the colored rectangle, like that. Just like that. Okay? And then I even want to cut a triangle out this way. So I guess what I'm trying to show you is, as we're cutting out the rectangles, I'm going to make this weirdo shape just to make things faster. But if you want to cut out your rectangles first, that's totally fine. Go back and find this white rectangle. And we're just going to trim just a little bit like that in a straight line. And then on the colored rectangle, we're going to go ahead and trim a triangle like that. And then another triangle up here like that. Okay, so shortcut way, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to cut at a triangle there. I'm going to cut down to here. I know it's so hard to see what I'm doing. And then from this printed corner, I'm just going to cut at a gradual angle down this way. And then I'm going to cut straight across like that. Okay, that might be too complicated. So here, that was my shortcut. I'll do a regular version again. Let me just cut out the rectangle. Okay, starting down here at this rectangle, I'm going to just trim it down just to be a little bit skinnier. And then from there, I'm going to take that cut and just extend it to that printed corner, essentially cutting it at an angle. And then finally, let's hit it like that. Okay, we've cut out all of the pieces that we need to cut out. Next up, there's a couple more dotted lines you're noticing, hopefully. And so we have 4 L-shaped dotted lines. Let's go ahead and cut those. So just cut here and here. No trimming needed on this part. We've already done all the trimming that we need to do. So we're just going to go ahead and follow. I cannot tell you how badly I'm sweating right now. It must be like 85 degrees in here. I'm dying. Okay, so we're just cutting those dotted line L shapes. Cut the dotted line L shapes. If you've made any of my other big boxes before, all of these things will look pretty familiar. I always start with the same template of something that I've made and then I adapt. Well, except for those matchbook things, that was brand new. Okay, so we have our shape cut out. It should look a little something like this with these L's cut out. Now we're going to do some folding. Most of our folding we're going to do upside down, but the first folds we're going to do right side up. And I want to start with these 4 rectangles that we trimmed down in the corner. We're going to keep this printed side up, just those 4 rectangles that we trimmed. We're going to go ahead and crease those printed side up like this. So keeping it printed side up, fold that over. Oh, did I not? No, I did do that. Okay. I thought maybe I missed an L. So crease those that way. Should be pretty easy the way that we've cut everything. Those will just fold right over and crease perfectly. And then you can open those back up if you want to or not. I don't care. I'll open it back up just so that things are easier to see on the other side. But yep, go ahead and crease those that way. Turn this whole thing upside down. And let's go ahead and start on the easy side, okay? So we're going to go on the long ways over here. Easy side, you're going to have those L shapes that we cut. I'm going to call those the wings. Let's just go ahead and fold those wings in like this. Oh, I cut that one a little too far. It's okay, I'm just going to push it back in, crease it with my thumb. Now, there were some great YouTube comments on YouTube and on Board Game Geek talking about spraying my pages. Like, people are buying some glossy spray paint, some clear and glossy spray paint, and painting all and spraying all this stuff. That adds a nice color. It makes the colors pop, I guess, and it also stiffens the paper a little bit. I think that's awesome. The only reason that I haven't been, well, now that I know that that exists, the reason that I haven't been doing that is that it usually takes me about 5 to 10 iterations of a single piece to get it right. And so by the time I finally have it right, I just don't have it in me to go print another one and spray it and wait for an hour, spray it again, and then come make it. Like usually as soon as I have it made, I call it good because it's been several days probably of work. Okay, so we're folding in the wings. Here, let's hit these wings too. Try not to overwhelm you. I've done a lot of talking in this video and I kind of apologize for that, I guess. It's the price. You have to listen to my voice, the price you pay for these free downloads. Okay, fold in the wings. Next, what we're gonna do is I wanna fold right here where the white paper meets the printed paper. So we're gonna bring this down and fold right there on top of the wings. Okay, so we're just bringing this, the crease is just following the top of those wings. And then I wanna keep that folded down and fold on the bottom of the wings. So basically on this line right here, but I'm keeping it folded and I'm just gonna bring that up and over, and this is gonna become the side of the box. So as much as possible with my boxes, I try to add as much stability as I can. I don't want you to just fold 4 sides up and tape it. I want this to be dual layered as much as possible. So we just have 2 layers for our box, so that'll add some strength. So let's do that same thing on this side. Fold right on top of the wings, like this. And then fold right underneath the wings on this line that you can see, like that. Oh, I did not do a great job on that one. That's okay, we can fix that. It is a little bit trickier for me to do these folds standing up next to a camera than it is sitting at my kitchen table. Okay, so we have those sides folded. I'm just gonna go ahead and open them up so they're not in the way. Then we're going to do something very similar with this one. Our first fold, I want it to be between the white and the printed stuff. Okay, so I'm kind of get those other parts out of the way. So bring it down until you see just a hint of color. Okay, if it helps, this rectangle here kind of lines up with this wing right there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and crease that. That's our first fold, and then our second fold, we're going to keep this folded down. Our second fold is going to be right there on that line. Oh my gosh, I'm doing such a crappy job right now. Okay, there we go. But rest assured, even though I'm doing a crappy job, it's going to turn out great. Okay, that's that side over here. Now let's go ahead and do that same thing over here. So our first fold is where the colored part meets the white part. Okay, there we go. I can't tell. I'm trying to keep my head out of camera, but I did get a haircut today, so maybe it won't be so bad. All right, first fold, and then our second fold is on this line right here, the bottom parts of the wings. Bring that up, and all 4 sides of this box will be dual layered with cardstock if you print it on cardstock. And yeah, should be pretty strong. Oh my gosh, I am slaughtering this. But it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Okay, guys, we have all of our creases done. That's very exciting. All right, what we're gonna do, now we gotta fold and tape. So here's our tape. Okay, so basically, we're gonna take the wings and we're gonna fold this side up. Now, maybe this will be easier to say here. So you see this line where the wings are, right above the wings? Let's just fold that back. Otherwise it's gonna be in your way and you're gonna get really annoyed. So I'm just gonna fold that back so that I can still have access to the wings, but the other parts aren't in the way. Then we're gonna fold this up like this. See that? And then we're gonna bring this side up and over with these rectangles. Here, maybe I need to finish it before it makes sense. So these rectangles come down like this. Do you see what I did there? Holding it so you can see it. Okay, so the sides of the box are in here like that. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pinch at the base here. Pinch at the base to make sure that you're kind of making a 90-degree angle there at the base, so that everything's nice and tight, and just throw some tape down. So I'm gonna throw 2 pieces down, maybe 3, we'll see how things go. So pinch at the base, like that. Okay. Now, if you didn't trim these rectangles, you're going to find that this is going to be really annoying to fold up and over. So hopefully you did trim those rectangles a little bit, and it should be flush right there. Okay? Anyway, but before we do that, let's do this side too. So get your wings in like this. This side goes up and over, and push it down. And those rectangles will just fit in right there. Pinch at the base, throw in some tape, like that. Now, depending on how well you cut, like you might see a tiny black line here. That's okay. If you want to trim out that line, go back and that's fine, no big deal. But they'll be covered in boxes anyway, so whatever. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to bring this side up and over, covering those rectangles. Again, we're just trying to add some stability to the corners, and we're just going to push that in like this. Okay, pinch it in. It'll be a little creased unless you make sure that you try to get your corners pinched. So I'm going to pinch those corners, throw down some tape. Oh man, I just really messed up that tape job. Pinch the corners, throw in some tape. Okay, and when I say pinch the corners, I mean like here. All right, then we'll bring this one up and over like this. Pinch the corners in as best as you can. This side is a little bit skinnier, but no big deal. It ain't no thing. Grab some tape. Pinch it in like that. Guys, we've made the base of our box. Wow, this video is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so I've tried to label the sides of the box to kind of guide where your smaller boxes should go. So for example, here it's your Archer, Guard, Imp, and Shaman cards. Those are the ones that don't have any figures in them. They're just cards, okay? And then next is our bosses. This took a lot of practice. Like, I was shifting things, trying to figure out how alphabetical or how not alphabetical, and this is the best way to get everything to fit, is by following these instructions. And next, we're going to do alphabetically Ancient Artillery through City Archer. Oh, Cave Bear needs to be in alphabetical order, sorry. Okay, so City Archer should be there, and everything should fit really nicely. Now here's a tip. Because of the lips of these boxes, like that, sometimes, depending on how tight it is, it might be tricky to get the box to fit back in. So my tip is, take out whatever box is in the back, get everything else in, and then slide that one. Oh, I need to tuck that in. And then you're going to slide that one back into place so that nothing gets bothered. Okay? This side is going to be the City Guard to the Howler Infester, alphabetical all along the way. We'll go ahead and grab those, put them in, just like that. Oh, there's something going on with my Earth Demon. Oh, he turned sideways. There we go. Okay, just like that. All right, perfect. So if you want to, you could put this into here or not. It doesn't matter. In fact, why don't I keep it out? Okay, and let's go ahead and make the lid of this box. So, just a reminder, for the lid of the box, I did not do any cut on the top or bottom, holding that horizontally. So I didn't do any cuts up here or down here. Okay, I just trimmed this side and this side. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and cut out these rectangles here. Now, there's a lot of wiggle room on what's going on up here, so don't stress too much. But basically, let's start with the side that you can see really obviously. We're going to go ahead and cut that rectangle here. Oh, I need to make that line dotted. I will, I promise. Cut that there. Haven't uploaded anything yet. Cut out that rectangle right there. Okay, got it. Again, on my video, I don't have dotted lines, but I'm seeing I need to add dotted lines. All right, over here, we're gonna go ahead and cut this. Oh, no. And we're gonna cut this. And if you want to make that a rectangle, you can. Again, this is very froofy right here. I'm just gonna actually cut it like that. In fact, maybe I should have done the same thing down here. Let's do that. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, I'll make sure to change the lines to reflect what I'm doing now. All right, this one, I am so sweaty right now. It's disgusting. I just barely showered too. I might have to shower again. Okay, we're gonna cut that rectangle out there. And again, on the version that you have downloaded, this line won't be here. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see a line right here. All right, cut, cut. Okay, so we got the 4 corners cut out. While we're at it, well, shall we? Yeah, so we have 2 rectangles here. Let's trim a triangle out of that, make it a trapezoid. We'll do that on the 2 sides. Like that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we need to cut this dotted line right here. Don't worry that this is red and white. This whole thing is going to get tucked. The only reason that I colored this red is so that when it's tucked, you don't have this ugly white line showing in the corner. So we're just going to go ahead and trim right here, following that dotted line. Okay, so we cut out this rectangle, cut that line. Cut out that rectangle, and we're just going to cut this line like this. Okay, don't worry that that looks like that. It's gonna be hidden. You won't even see it. Go ahead and cut this like this. Last one. Okay, so these are the things that are gonna be tucked to hold the corners together. So as per usual, we're gonna do a little bit of trimming so that when we fold over a piece, it's not gonna it won't cause any problems. So down here, I'm just going to go ahead and start at this printed corner where we already trimmed off the thing, and I'm just going to cut at a slight angle like that. Or if you want to go this way, I'm just cutting like this. Okay, like that. Let's do that on this side too. There is a drop of sweat rolling off my back right this second. It is so disturbing. And it's disturbing that I'm talking about it. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So we have all of that there. One more little trimming thing. It's the exact same idea as what we've got going on over here. You have these long rectangles at the bottom. Let's just cut the corners. Make them trapezoids. Like that. We'll do the same things over here. This isn't like required by any means. I mean, none of it's required, but it's just going to make the fold over a little bit easier there on the corners. So, sweet. Okay, let me go ahead and brush this stuff off and hold that up so you can see the final shape that you should be looking at. See that? Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over and fold. This won't be as complicated as any of the other things we've done because this box is so big. There's not a lot of dual layer anything going on. Let's start with the wings. I'm going to go ahead and fold the wing in. Remember, we cut off the corner, so it's going to look a little bit angled, and that's totally great. So there it is. Okay, and then 2 folds, one here and one here. So we're starting with the trapezoid. You're using your cut lines just to kind of guide that, and also you're going to see the difference between the print and then the white part. Okay, so right above the wings and then right under the wings. We're going to go ahead and fold that over, like something like that. I think I went too far. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Fold in the wings until you see that black line. Like that. Then we're going to fold there and then there. Fold it down like that, and fold that up and over like that. Okay, and now the 2 sides we haven't folded yet, just 2 folds on each, right here and here, really straightforward. Again, we just didn't have enough paper or space to make any of the sides double layered, so it's going to be a little bit weaker than the other things, but that's okay. It's just the lid. It's not holding any pressure or anything like that. So we got that. And then we've got, oh, I didn't quite get there. There it is, right there. Again, my head's probably on camera. I'm trying to keep it out of the way. All right, bring that over like that. Okay, assembling this is so straightforward. What we're going to do is we're just going to take the wings, bring them up and over so they're on the inside of the box. these might drive you crazy, so I'm going to recommend folding those back before they drive me crazy. Okay, so wings, bring them up and over. Bring this tab over that. Make sure that your corners are nice and lined up. See, like this one was not very well lined up, so I'm going to push that in. Okay, here, let's start with this corner. That corner looks good, so I'm pinching it closed, and I'm going to add a piece of tape here where where that 3-part joint is. Oh, right there. Okay, now on this side, I'm going to make sure the corner is the way I want it to look, and I'm going to pinch it. I'm going to add some tape holding the 3 pieces of that side together. Just like that. Okay, same thing on this side. Bring in those wings. And bring those, come on. Bring that up and over like that. Oh my gosh, and then that one escaped. Oh my gosh. Okay, one at a time, one at a time. There we go. Okay, make sure the corner is the way that you want it to be. Go ahead and try to do this for the camera. Pinch it. There we go, right there. Make sure your corner looks good. Pinch it. Oh my gosh, I got sweat on my leg. Like that. Last step is we're just going to bring this tab up and over. That's just to add a little bit of strength and niceness. Like it's not paper cuttery or paper cutty, whatever. Just going to throw 2 pieces of tape on there like that. Just makes the corner look nice and finished when it's folded instead of just cut. And we'll put this here like this. Put this here like this. And we have the lid of our box. Bring it up. It should fit right on top of there. And we have monster box number 1 with a list of all of the ingredients. So let me actually pull my Gloomhaven box into the picture. So this is, again, with the broken token insert we've got going on here. And so this is where this whole thing goes like this. So if you want to keep it, do it. But also if you want to just take these out and place these down like this, that could be an option too. I honestly haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do it. I haven't decided. But either way, I think I might keep the wooden part in there. And in fact, you might not even want the lids, honestly, if you have the broken token insert, because, like, for example, the lids are kind of unnecessary. Heck, I even mentioned the big box might be unnecessary, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in there just so that it comes up equal height with that. I'm going to go ahead and lay this in like that. You got to be careful with the lids. I did practice this before, I promise. Again, I might just keep the lids out once this is all in, but they look cute for now. Okay, get that in there like that. Okay, and then your cards should fit right above it. No big deal. Everything's protected and stable and all that warm, happy, fuzzy stuff. And then, you know, the rest of this stuff will go in, but I'll do that later. I'm still cleaning up from my last gameplay. But yes, there you have it. We have built those boxes. This video ended up way longer than I thought it was. I thought that'd be half the time. But anyway, we did it. So cool beans. If you like that project, awesome. Or if you'd think just having the cards would be a lot faster, well, it would be a lot faster and easier because it's, you know, not a million boxes. But if you're interested in this, also check out my webpage. Or if you're interested in those other projects that I mentioned, please check out my webpage. Thank you guys for watching. I am going to go turn on the cooler and upload this video. Okay, talk to you later. Goodbye.